What are your choices as far as distributors when it comes to releasing your independent feature film? I'm going to be answering that question in today's video, where we're going to be talking about the different distribution models as far as like traditional distributors, aggregators, and the self-distribution option. We're going to go over some examples of who you could possibly work with in terms of like Filmhub and Quiver and indie rights and stuff like that. And then we'll also talk about how you can release your film yourself and some methods to be able to do that as well. This is part 3 in my independent film distribution series, where I break down all of the basics as far as independent film distribution. To be completely honest, this is just an abridged version from a longer video that I did. So if you've already watched that video, you've already seen this content, but for anybody who needs that kind of condensed version, that's what this is for. So without further ado, let's get into the different types of distribution. So the first type is going to be the most common. It's traditional distribution, which means you're working with an actual distributor. How it works is a distributor buyer leases your film, then handles marketing and the release. Some provide upfront payments like minimum guarantees, but many don't. How you can attract a distributor would be submitting to film festivals, but this really only gets down to like the major ones at this point. So Sundance, TIFF, South by Southwest, are really going to be your only places to probably find distribution. So just kind of keep that in mind. So I wouldn't really rely on that. If you are at, like the no budget level, you're probably not going to find distribution through a festival, but you could. It might be a boutique distributor. You absolutely could. I don't want to say it's never happened. It's just extremely uncommon at this point. You could hire a sales agent or a producer's rep to pitch your film. So a sales agent or a producer's rep, they're not going to make any money until they sell the film. They'll take a percentage, but basically they'll go and just pitch your film to different distributors or platforms or whatever. Or you can network with distributors at events like American Film Markets. You can do this yourself if you want to. You could act as your own, sales agent or producer's rep, right? And just go straight to these film markets. Anybody can go to these film markets. It's not like you have to be, I take that back. I don't know that. I don't know if you need some sort of credentials, but I'm pretty sure you can just go and, just represent yourself if you wanted to. So the pros of traditional distribution, it can be less marketing responsibility for you, depending on the distributor, potential for wider distribution, upfront money if they offer in advance. But like I said, that's rare today. The cons are the revenue splits are generally not good, depending on the distributor. I think the most common revenue split, like I said before, is 70-30. Long exclusivity periods, you might lose your rights for years. Common deals are 7 to 15 years. Some distributors, and I put that in quotes, distributors are scams. Watch for hidden fees, like I talked about. The next type would be aggregators or middlemen services, which is becoming a lot more common today. So what do they do? Aggregators help get your film on the different streaming platforms like Apple TV, Amazon, Google Play, Tubi, and more. Popular aggregators would be something like Filmhub, although they don't really consider themselves to be an aggregator, but they're really an aggregator. You have Quiver Digital, which is a pay per submission. Bitmax, which is a flat fee per platform, which I'll get into more of these here shortly. The pros, it's good for filmmakers who want VOD or video on demand distribution without a traditional deal. More control over pricing and availability. The cons, some distributors require high upfront costs, and there's typically no marketing included. You're going to have to do all the marketing stuff yourself. And then last, we have the DIY, do-it-yourself / self-distribution method. How this works with self-distribution, you sell your film directly to your audience without involving a distributor or aggregator. You control the pricing, availability, and marketing, but you're also responsible for handling sales, customer support, and promotion. This path requires more effort, but offers the potential for higher profits and creative freedom, so something to keep in mind. So some popular self-distribution options would be something like Vimeo on Demand, which is something that I actually use and I've made a video about, so definitely check that out. You can sell or rent your film with a customizable pricing. Vimeo takes a road 10 to 15%, but it's really 10% per sale. And then you can also embed a player directly on your website if you want to, which is really nice. So if I refer to a Vimeo OTT platform, Vimeo On Demand is basically what I'm talking about here. You can create your own website or e-commerce platform and sell digital downloads directly through there, or on a place like Gumroad or Sellify. I haven't really heard of these two. I did some research on them, but apparently you can do this if you want to. But I'd say uploading or doing the digital downloads directly on your own website is probably a better method. But if you want your own, or if you want somebody else to kind of handle that, and then you just kind of take in whatever the split is, you could absolutely do that. And then you keep 100% of the revenue minus payment processing fees. So if you're using something like Stripe, it's like 2.9% plus some fee per transaction. So it's pretty minimal. Or if you're like me, you can sling Blu-rays and DVDs, on the side. I've definitely done that as well. And then you don't have to pay any fees. If you're taking cash, well, you're keeping 100% of that cash, right? And then you have four-walling or theatrical self-distribution. You can rent a theater and screen the film yourself. You can keep all the ticket revenue minus what you paid for the theater, obviously, but you're responsible for marketing and event costs. And this is great for, localized screenings or special event screenings. So for myself, for an example, I kind of did like a cross between a few of these methods. So obviously I've distributed through Filmhub, but before that I was self-distributing on Amazon. So that was nice. I was able to upload directly to Amazon, which you can't do anymore. I'm on Vimeo On Demand, so I'm directly selling through my own platform with that, which is really nice. I'm not selling through my own website anymore, but I did sell Blu-rays and digital copies at one point on my own website. So I just created like a simple store, and people were able to purchase the film, and then I would ship it out myself. Or, like I've done Comic-Cons, so I've gone directly to the consumer, sold through that, just selling directly to friends and family, right? They're like, hey, let me get a copy. I'm like, okay, $20 or whatever. They give me cash, I give them the movie. So there's a whole lot of that. That's why I say, like, you want to, diverse, or you want to make sure you're not selling off all your rights completely. Like if you're, if the distributor has no interest in doing, a theatrical release, then don't sell off your theatrical rights, because then you can take those rights and go do your own screening, which is what I did. I put my movie in a theater locally, and it did pretty well, which was nice. So if I sold off those rights, I would have never been able to do my local screenings. And while, if you saw my breakdown of how much money I've made from my film cashing out, you'll know I never saw that money, but I did make I made like $2,000 from screenings. Now there were some costs there with creating the DCPs and the posters and all that, but still, like, I made money doing that. I didn't lose a ton of money overall with that method. But if I signed off those rights, I wouldn't have been able to do that. If I signed off the physical rights, I couldn't do a Blu-ray and sell that off on my own, right? But that's only if that's important to you. So just keep that in mind. I'm very hands-on. I want to dip my toes in a bunch of different places, right? And just learn. So, I have a bunch of different methods on just how I do things overall. And I still have these rights, right? I could still screen cashing out in a movie theater. I can still sell my own Blu-rays if I want to. So nothing's changed there. I don't do it anymore just because it's not making any money. Although it's been 5 years since Cashing Out came out, so maybe a 5-year anniversary screening would be fun. Maybe 10 years makes more sense. But, that's something I have the choice to make that, right? So that's great. So the pros of the DIY / self-distribution: full creative control. You control the pricing, distribution, and marketing strategies. So if you're very hands-on, this is a great method for you. And that, like I said, this is the route I primarily took. Higher revenue potential. You keep a larger share of the profits. There are no distributors or aggregators taking a cut. And then you have a direct audience connection. You build direct relationship with your fans, which can help you with future projects. So this is something that's very important to me. It's probably the route that I'm going to continue to take, unless, I would like to get some experience with traditional distribution just so I have that. But I would rather have that direct audience connection like I was just talking about, because I think that helps you better in the long run, especially when you're a filmmaker at my level. Like if you're in Hollywood making big budget films, who cares? But somebody at my level, you got to be a little closer to your audience. The cons: heavy marketing responsibility. You're fully responsible for promoting your own film, which requires a lot of time and effort. And people just think like, oh, I wrote on Facebook about my movie. Oh, I wrote on Twitter. I did a couple tweets about my movie. I marketed it. There's a lot more to it, which we'll talk about here shortly, and I will make videos about in the future. But marketing a film is a lot of work, and that's honestly, marketing is why most films fail overall. Limited reach: without a distributor's network, you'll struggle to get on major platforms like Apple or Amazon. Upfront cost: you may need to invest in advertising, build a website, or pay for event spaces. So, like when I did the Comic-Con, I had to pay for event space, which wasn't very much, but it is a fee. Theatrical obviously had some fees with the DCPs, creating posters, paid ads, etc. Building the website. There's a lot of things you can do for free now. So, like when I'm, just 5 years ago when I was, doing all this for my film, there was a lot less resources, I would say, but you can do a lot of this for free now. Now, it's not always going to be the most professional looking things. Like you might have to build like a free Wix site or only use a Linktree profile as your website. I think that's fine, as long as I think the connection to the audience is a lot more important than how good your website looks. But, if you do have the resources to invest a little money in it, it's not the end of the world. At this point, like I don't pay for a website anymore. Like I did for years, and I just never saw a return on investment with it. So I just stopped paying for it. I just have a Linktree profile now with all of my links. Like I still have a free Wix website that exists, but it's not like I don't see the need to pay for it right now. Like there's no point. I could just put just a redirect link or something, or create like a bit.ly link with a unique tag at the end, like cashing out bit.ly.com/cashing out film, something like that. It's not the best method in the world, but it's free. And, I'm not wasting a ton of money on something that's just not giving me a return on investment. Now I pay for all the domains still, so I have those, but, I don't pay the recurring fee for, the website hosting. So a couple pro tips: if you're planning on self-distributing, considering offer special bundles like film plus behind the scenes content or commentary tracks. This is something I did with my film. Offered a commentary track to increase the perceived value and boost sales. And then leverage email lists, social media, and partnerships to drive traffic to your website or storefront. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I started this YouTube channel as a way to build an audience for my creative projects. Like that's the whole reason I'm here. I want to provide value, but that's kind of my exchange, my value exchange. I'm making this super long, detailed video about film distribution in hope that people are going to watch my movie. So that's kind of the value exchange here, right? I'm trying to build an audience for my brand, my movies, etc. And I'm giving you guys information. Now, I don't know if you guys are the right audience for what I'm doing, but this is the way I know how to do it right now. So if I got to change course eventually, that's fine. But I'm going to build one audience first, and we'll just see how things go in the future. Again, I don't know if that's the best method, but that's the method I'm using right now. Okay, so that wraps up section 4. Let's get into section 5, common distribution companies. So these are companies that you're likely going to run into when distributing your film. So the one that I talk about most on this channel, and that is, they're not paying me or anything like that, despite what some people have accused me of, which is super annoying. But Filmhub, they do pay me for the film that I distribute on there, but they don't pay me to say nice things about them. But Filmhub is a global distribution platform designed for independent filmmakers and content creators to distribute their films and TV shows to multiple streaming services worldwide. It provides self-distribution with a focus on access to large platforms like Amazon, Tubi, Roku, and international VOD services. So this is an aggregator. They don't call themselves an aggregator, but they're pretty much an aggregator at this point. But this is the service that I have used now for, I think it's going on 5 years at this point. Cashing Out's been on Filmhub, so this is the one I can speak to the best. So how Filmhub works, you will, as far as film submission, you upload your film to Filmhub's platform. Well, they'll review it and approve it. Filmhub requires content in certain formats like ProRes or H.264, and you'll need to provide them necessary metadata like the film, title, description, genre, poster art, etc. As far as distribution, Filmhub distributes to over 50 streaming platforms, including popular ones like Tubi, Pluto TV, Amazon Prime, and niche services for international distribution. And they manage all the technical delivery to platforms, ensuring compliance with the specifications required by each one. So this is a great method if you're looking for some self-distribution. You know, they say it's not exclusive, but honestly, it's becoming a little bit more exclusive because they, you know, at least with the free version, like if you can go distribute elsewhere if you want, but you have to pay them. So it's kind of like, you know, if it's free, if you're using the free version, it's not very non-exclusive, which is fine. Like I don't really want to go anywhere else right now, but if you want to take your films elsewhere, you're going to have to pay a fee. As far as revenue collection, Filmhub collects revenue from the platforms and pays you an 80-20 revenue split, depending on the platform and territory. Payments are made monthly with transparency on where the earnings come from, i.e. they will tell you which platform or region and how much. And there are no upfront fees with an asterisk. So Filmhub does not charge submission fees. You only pay a small percentage of the revenue they collect. You are not required to sign an exclusive contract, so you can still distribute your film elsewhere. And I put the asterisk there because, like I said, the only way you can do this is to pay for one of their subscription services, which kind of sucks. You used to be able to just do whatever you wanted, but now they are looking to obviously make more money. So if you want to take your film elsewhere, they want to, you know, recoup that money somehow. The pros of Filmhub: wide range of platforms, so they pretty much distribute everywhere, both domestically and international, which is nice. There is no upfront fees, asterisks, only a revenue share. So there is a free version, which is what I use. And, you know, I've never paid them for anything else. So that's been nice. Transparency for the most part on revenue and platform earnings. Now they're getting a lot more transparent, but again, you have to pay for those tools, which is super annoying. I wish they had some sort of free version of that. Like maybe, you know, the paid version gets you better stats, but it just would be nice to have some stats, but you know, it is what it is. And then flexible distribution without exclusivity. The cons are you need to handle your own marketing promotion to ensure your film gets noticed by the platform, so they don't do any marketing for you. And the revenue share is typically lower than platforms that offer exclusive distribution deals, so something to keep in mind. Next, we have Quiver. I haven't used Quiver, so this is now where we're getting, so I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm going to be talking about things that I don't have experience with. So this is just through some basic research. So if you worked with Quiver, I would love to talk to you. So reach out to me if you have worked with them. Otherwise, I'm just going to be talking out of my ass right now, I guess. And that's how it's going to be, honestly, for the rest of these platforms, since I've only worked with Filmhub at this point. But with Quiver, Quiver is a film distribution aggregator that helps filmmakers distribute the films across digital platforms like Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, Vudu, etc. Quiver acts as the bridge between filmmakers and VOD platforms, offering a more DIY approach for filmmakers who want full control. How it works: with submitting your film, you upload your film and provided relevant metadata. Quiver accepts standard digital formats like ProRes, H.264, etc. They will review your submission before it's approved for distribution. As far as platform delivery, Quiver delivers your films to various platforms, including Amazon, Google Play, and Tubi. You can choose which platforms you want to distribute to based on your film's genre and target audience, which is nice. Revenue collection: Quiver collects royalties directly from the platforms and pays you 100% of the revenue minus their cut, which I guess is about 30%. Now here's the kicker, what makes them different from Filmhub. Quiver charges a flat fee submission per platform rather than taking a percentage of the earnings. So this is where I'm getting a little confused. So do they take revenue as well to afterwards? I don't know, but all I know is they charge a flat fee per platform, and they don't have an exclusive contract, so you can distribute elsewhere without any restrictions, which is nice. Again, I haven't worked with them, but it's a good option if you have the money up front to distribute to the different platforms. And I don't know what just like the costs look like. So again, if you worked with Quiver, I would love to talk to you about that to learn more about it. Pros: flat fee per platform rather than a revenue share, allowing for more transparency in earnings. You retain the full rights to your film and easy distribution to multiple platforms. Cons: they don't handle marketing, so you'll need to drive traffic to your film. Extra fees for optional service like metadata optimization or marketing support. I don't know enough about those to really comment on them, but apparently that's a thing. Bitmax, which is a premium digital media services company that focuses on managing the distribution of films, TV shows, and other media to major platforms like iTunes or Apple at this point, Amazon, Google Play, and others. Bitmax is known for providing more high-touch professional services tailored to filmmakers, studios, and content owners looking for high-end technical distribution support. How it works is you submit your film in a digital format, usually ProRes or some other broadcast standard files. Bitmax handles the processing of your film and prepares it for distribution. You'll need to provide detailed metadata, including the title, description, credits, and artwork. How they deliver to platforms is they distribute your films to a wide range of platforms like Apple TV, Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, and other major services. They also provide content protection services like DRM, digital rights management, and ensure compliance with the technical requirements for each platform. How it collects revenue is Bitmax facilitates royalty collection from the platforms and distributes revenue to you. They usually charge a percentage of your earnings as part of their service fees. This varies depending on the platforms you distribute to. And then they offer some premium services such as closed captioning, subtitling, content localization, and high-end digital mastering to ensure your film is properly optimized for each platform. And they also offer analytics and reporting to help you track your film's performance. Pros: high-end quality service ideal for larger budgets and more technical projects, offering services like subtitling, closed captioning, and localization, and access to premium platforms like Netflix and Hulu. Cons: more expensive than services like Filmhub or Quiver due to the premium nature of the service, more complex process, suited for filmmakers with bigger budgets or professional studios, typically requires long-term contracts and more formal agreements. And one comment I want to make about Bitmax and Quiver, I don't know if they guarantee if you pay these fees, if you're going to get on these platforms. Like if I pay, say like the fee to get on Netflix is like, this is probably super low, but say it's like $1,000 to get on Netflix. Am I guaranteed to get on Netflix if I pay that $1,000? I have absolutely no idea. So that's something to keep in mind too. Again, if you've worked with Bitmax or Quiver, let me know. I would love to interview you and we could talk more about it because I just want to know more about them in general. Next, indie rights. Indie rights is interesting because it's kind of a hybrid of the traditional distributor and the aggregator. But indie rights is an independent film distribution company that focuses on helping filmmakers get their film movies onto popular streaming platforms and VOD services. They are known for flexibility and transparency, and they provide filmmakers with a more hands-on approach to distribution and marketing, making it a great option for independent creators looking to retain control over the content while reaching a wider audience, which is nice. How it works with them: you submit their film, here's a film in a digital format like ProRes. They prefer, I think they only take ProRes, so MP4 isn't correct, but they will process the film and ensure it's formatted for the various platforms. You'll need to provide basic metadata like title, description, artwork, as well as technical details for delivery. As far as platform delivery, they distribute your film to a wide array of platforms, including Amazon, Apple, Google Play, others, focusing on major and niche outlets. And I will say they do have direct relationships with a lot of platforms, so they do guarantee that you'll get on certain platforms. They do guarantee you'll get on Amazon, YouTube, Google, Tubi, etc. So that's nice that there is some guarantee if they accept your film. They handle technical requirements such as file encoding, metadata delivery, and platform-specific compliance. As far as revenue collection, Indie Rights collects royalties from the platforms and distributes the payments to filmmakers, typically on a quarterly basis. They do a revenue split. I want to say it's 80-20, but it might be 70-30. don't remember exactly 100%. I probably should have wrote that down. But it's on their website, so they tell you exactly upfront what they charge. So there's no secrets there. As far as premium services, they're very cost effective. Like they don't have expenses or anything like that. You're pretty much going to have everything ready for your film yourself. They might make recommendations on different services you can use. So I don't think that they like do closed captioning or anything like that, but they do offer support with digital marketing. Like they'll give you like a rundown of how you can market your film. They don't do the marketing themselves, as far as they do B2B marketing, which is business to business marketing, but they don't do B2C marketing, which is business to consumer. So they don't get they don't market directly to the consumer, but they do offer support and how to market to the consumer. So that is nice. They also offer detailed sales tracking and analytics, helping filmmakers understand their revenue streams and make more informed decisions, which is nice. As far as the pros go, obviously the biggest one is transparent revenue sharing model, which is really nice. Flexible and independent, giving creators a lot more control over their content. They only have a 3-year deal, which is nice, 3-year distribution deal. So that's why I say these 10 to 15-year deals are ridiculous when they're doing something like 3-year deals. But yeah, their deal is 3 years. And if you're not happy, you can go elsewhere afterwards. And then a wide range of platforms for distribution, including, large scale and niche services. Cons, no white glove service like some premium distributors, so filmmakers may need to handle a lot of the tasks. I mean, honestly, you're handling all of the tasks yourselves. They have a smaller team and they don't really have any premium services compared to large distributors. And then less direct access to platforms like Netflix or Hulu, which typically are more formal distribution, require a more formal distribution process. So this is great for smaller filmmakers. Basically, if you're doing like an Avengers size movie, which you're probably not watching my channel if you're doing a movie that big, but if you're doing a Hollywood like movie, any rights may not be the best option, but you never know, it could be. And then of course you have your independent film distributor. The average independent film distributor specializes in getting films produced with mid-range budgets, around $100,000 onto various streaming platforms, TV and VOD services. These platforms typically focus on independent filmmakers who need access to distribution channels without the complexity of working with larger, more established companies. The goal is to maximize exposure while ensuring filmmakers retain as much creative and financial control as possible. So how it works with an independent film distributor is, as far as the film submission process, they'll require the finished film in a suitable delivery format like ProRes, like I've been talking about. They require the same metadata. As far as platform delivery, they will get you on a lot of the similar platforms. You'll notice a lot of the same distribution methods for smaller films are pretty much all the same as far as what platforms you can get on. And of course, they will make sure your film meets the technical specifications for each platform and handle all the encoding and all of that. As far as revenue collection, obviously they will collect the revenue on your behalf, and they usually pay on a quarterly or biannual basis. Distribution fees will typically take a percentage of the revenue, usually between 20 to 40%, depending on the distribution's contract. This is often less than larger premium distributors, but higher than DIY platforms like Filmhub. And just know that, even with that revenue split, that's after they take whatever fees. The marketing fees are usually the most common. Premium services, while not as extensive as high-end services like Bitmax, distributors in this range may offer additional support services such as closed captioning, subtitling, or marketing. Some may offer limited promotion packages to access to film festivals, helping filmmakers get noticed in specific genres or markets. Pros, more accessible for filmmakers with mid-range budgets, offering a balanced combination of services and revenue sharing. Good exposure on a range of well-known VOD platforms, flexible contract terms, and easier entry compared to larger distributors. I'm going to put an asterisk here, potentially transparent and semi-transparent revenue sharing, with many distributors offering direct access to platform or performance metrics. Cons, limited access to major platforms like Netflix, Hulu, and traditional TV, which offer high-end profile distribution deals with stricter requirements. Lower level of hands-on support or marketing compared to higher-end services, so filmmakers may need to do a significant amount of their own promotion. and revenue sharing percentages can still be relatively high, especially for mid-range distributors, reducing the filmmakers' overall take. Okay, so afterwards, you heard me talking about all this, and you're probably asking yourself what option to choose. So let me briefly give you a summary again of each option and who it's probably best suited for. So Filmhub is a self-service platform that allows independent filmmakers to distribute their films on major VOD platforms without upfront fees, taking a percentage of revenue. Best suited for DIY filmmakers looking for affordable, no-frills distribution. Quiver, a digital distribution service that helps filmmakers deliver their films to platforms like Apple, Amazon, and Google Play, with additional services like revenue collection and marketing. Best suited for filmmakers seeking a balance between ease of use and professional support. Bitmax, a premium distribution service providing high-touch professional support for filmmakers looking to distribute their films on 2 major platforms, with additional services like subtitling and content protection. Best suited for filmmakers with larger budgets and more complex distribution needs. Indie Rights, a flexible and transparent distribution company that focuses on independent filmmakers, providing access to a wide range of platforms. Best suited for independent filmmakers who want control over their content in a transparent, affordable distribution process. Or the average independent distributor, a mid-tier distribution service for independent films with budgets around or under $100,000, offering access to various VOD platforms, typically taking a percentage of earnings with basic marketing and technical support. Best suited for filmmakers with mid-range budgets seeking straightforward and cost-effective distribution. So I'm also going to talk about DIY/self-distribution here in a second, but just based on these options, I'll kind of give you my thoughts here. I think at this point, unless you want to be completely hands-off, going with a film distributor is going to be your best option, right? They're going to take care of everything for you. So if you're like, I don't know anything you're talking about, I don't understand anything, I don't know what a deliverable is, I don't know what format my movie was shot on, you can just hand this off to a distributor and they'll take care of it. If you're looking to be a little bit more hands-on, I would personally start with Indie Rights at this point. I really like what they had to say after my interview with their CEO. So I think this is a great stepping stone, because it's kind of it's a great deal overall, and it's very short. So if you don't like what's happening there, then you can just, after 3 years, just take your film elsewhere, which I think is fine. And then afterwards, between Filmhub, Quiver, and Bitmax, I'm using Filmhub, so that's the only one I can speak on. I've been happy with them so far, but Quiver and Bitmax seem to be a nice alternative. Now, why would you need to choose between any of these if you want to go with the DIY route, and why didn't I include the DIY route in this? It's primarily because the only way to get on any platform that's not YouTube, your own YouTube channel, or Vimeo on demand or anything like that, the only way to get on Tubi or something like that is with one of these methods. Now it's not uncommon, or it's not completely out of the realm of possibility for you to form a direct relationship with the distributor. Some filmmakers have accomplished this, but most likely somebody like you or I are never going to be able to do that. So if you want to get as far as streaming goes, if you want to get your film on a major platform, you're going to have to use one of these methods. So like I said, if you want to be completely hands-off, you can use a typical independent distributor, or you can use Indie Rights. Indie Rights is a little more hands-on in that you got to create the deliverables, but after you create the deliverables, it's pretty much hands-off from there. Or if you want to be a little bit more hands-on, Filmhub, Quiver, and Bitmax, all fine options. Again, I can only speak on Filmhub. I haven't had any experience with the other two, but it sounds like those are great options as well. Now, section 6, let's talk about DIY and self-distribution, which is definitely near and dear to my heart, since that is pretty much the theme of my entire YouTube channel, right? With DIY and self-distribution, you can sell through a place like Vimeo on Demand. You can launch your own website with digital downloads, and you can create special edition bundles with bonus content, right? And then I didn't write this on here too, but you could also, upload to your own channel, or you can also four-wall as well and get your movie in a theater, right? You can do that all yourself. You don't need a distributor for that. So first, Vimeo on Demand overview. Vimeo on Demand is a professional video on demand platform where filmmakers can upload, price, and sell their films directly to their audience. It's a great option for those who want a polished video-centric distribution method. Key features, customizable player, so you can embed Vimeo's player on your website or landing page for a branded experience. Flexible pricing, you can do pay-per-views, you can do a subscription service, you can do a rental, or they can buy your film outright, which is really nice. Global reach, so they support multiple currencies and deliver your films to various different regions, so you can really distribute worldwide with this method. No upfront fees, which there's a little bit of an asterisk to there. There's no upfront fees aside from how much content you're uploading. So they give you an hour for free. Anything beyond that, you have to buy a certain amount of hours. It's still pretty reasonable. I think you can buy like 10 hours or something like that for like $100. So it's not, outrageously priced or anything like that. But they just take a 10% commission on each sale. So if, for an example, you sell your movie for $10, they're going to take $1 of that. That's pretty much it. And I think that includes the payment processing fee too. So don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that dollar that comes out also includes the payment processing fee. And as far as analytics on your film, they do offer insights on how your film is performing, which can help you refine your marketing. The pros of this, it's professional, high quality streaming, which is nice. It's easy to use with flexible pricing options, and it's a clean branded experience for your audience. The cons, obviously they take a percentage of each sale, which is not, I don't even know if I call that a con, but it's a con. And then limited marketing tools to drive traffic. So you have to do all the marketing for this, which you're going to have to drive all the traffic. So if you just write one Facebook post, it's like, please buy my film on my website. And you got 5 of your friends who like the post, and you're like, why is nobody buying my film? That's not enough. You're going to have to do a lot of marketing to drive traffic to your website. But this is best for filmmakers who want a simple, professional platform to sell their films directly to their audience with minimal setup. Now you can do self-distribution via website or e-commerce platform. Vimeo On Demand, you're pretty much getting your own website, but if you wanted to create your own website, you could absolutely do that. And then you could sell through a place like Gumroad or Sellfy, but I don't know anything about those. But it gives you full control over your branding and sales process, right? So key features here, customizable branding, which is nice. You can sell digital and physical products. So like myself, I sold digital and DVD copies and Blu-ray copies of my own film. You could do your own subscription service if you want to. You have to use your own payment processing. So you could use something like PayPal or Stripe. So pretty much the only fees you're paying are the payment processing fees, which are pretty small. And then marketing tools like a Wix can offer some marketing services such as collecting email addresses or something like that. But honestly, you're going to be doing a lot on your own. The pros, full control over pricing, sales, and customer experience, which is nice. No commission from a third party except for payment processing fees, and ability to sell both digital and physical products if you want. And you can sell merch too if you want to, which is nice. Cons may require some setup and management of your own store, and there may be some fees with the store as well. And then you may need additional tools or services for streaming video securely. So make sure you keep that in mind. This is best for filmmakers who want complete control over their brand and sales process and are willing to manage their own website and online store, which is something I did personally. So, you could do this and you could do this. I do both. So all these methods is nice because you don't just have to do one. You can do all of these if you want. You can use platforms like YouTube or Patreon. So, you can offer free short films or charge for full-length features. You can use YouTube's channel memberships or Patreon. The pros, you keep full control over pricing and distribution. You don't keep 100% of your revenue. You do, but there's processing fees like from Patreon. There's payment processing fees from YouTube. They'll take 30% if you're looking to do this on memberships. The cons are obviously it requires very strong marketing skills. You're going to have to do all the marketing to drive traffic to your film. No built-in audience. You have to do all the work. There's also no monetization if you are not monetized on YouTube before you release your film. So make sure you keep that in mind. And of course, forwalling or renting theaters to screen your film. I think that's pretty self-explanatory to what it is. You rent a theater and sell your tickets. The theater takes the rental fee and you keep 100% of your ticket sales, which is nice. There may be some payment processing fees if you do your tickets online. So let's say you do something like with Eventbrite. Eventbrite might have some ticketing fees. But, aside from that, you'll pretty much keep all the revenue, unless you just go to the theater and sling tickets with cash, right? Then you keep all the revenue. So the pros: keep all the box office revenues, great for niche audiences like horror, faith-based, or documentary. Cons: require strong marketing. Obviously, people won't show up if you don't promote. And then the upfront cost to rent the theater or working with a company for a revenue split. And that wraps up this video in my film distribution series. In the next video, we'll be talking about the different types of film deliverables that you may run into. Definitely be on the lookout for that video if it's not out already, or you can actually watch it in the longer version that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. If you found this video helpful, it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to my channel, like this video, so that way it can get out to as many people as possible. If you want to help me out directly, my feature film Cashing Out will be linked in the description of this video. It would mean the world to me if you watched it. And of course, I will have a couple of videos linked on screen here. The next video should be on here at this point, hopefully, or at least the previous video. And then the entire video, if you just want to skip the individual videos and just watch the entire video, I got that linked somewhere here on screen as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.